Hello and welcome to this very short video on exporting images using Lightroom, but making sure that you're exporting them in the correct sizes. So I'm going to explain how we do this, and it's fairly straightforward in Lightroom. Here we have two images that we're going to resize and export, making sure that they are resized to the correct size for printing. So I'm going to open up this first one, which is the peacock feather, and I'm going to take it into the develop module. Now, looking at this picture, I don't know what the ratio is. There's nothing here other than the pixels here, but there's nothing really to tell me, and I don't know if I'm not able to work this out quickly. But the easy way to check the dimensions on a picture is to come over to the crop tool, select that, and where it says original over here, now most cameras will work in the 4:6 ratio. Now to get this drop down, all you do is left click on it where it says original, you get the drop down, and the 2:3 or the 4:6 is the standard one for most cameras, most digital SLR cameras these days. There are a few variations to that, but if you were going to print, for example, a 12:8 image, that is in the same ratio as 4:6. And if you're unsure about that, again, you can come down to here where it says Enter Custom. Click on that and change the aspect ratio simply to 12:8. Press your enter button, and as you can see, the crop box did not move. So that shows that a 12:8 is the correct dimensions for this picture. If you were wanting to change it to, say, a 12:10 image, so 12 on the long side and 10 on the short, so the 10 would be here, and the 12 would be along the bottom, you will get cropping at either side. So let's just do that one. Go into Enter Custom and 12:10, and you can see it changed. There you go, there's the crop box. So that would be the ratio for a 12:10. We're not going to use that, we're going to use the 4:6 or 12:10 ratio, which is this one. Let me just pull it right out. There we go. So we know now that that is going to be 12:8 on the short side and 12 along the bottom. But this picture has not actually been resized yet, it's just the aspect ratio has been changed. So what we have to do now is export it in those sizes. So the simple way to do this is take the picture, right click it, come down to export, come across and all the way up to export again, and this box appears. Now, this is what you have to make sure that your settings are set to. You're wanting to export it to the hard drive of your computer, so that's easy. Then you're going to export it to a specific folder, so that you know where it's gone, obviously. And underneath here, it tells you where you're going to export to. Now on my desktop, I have a folder called Exports, and that's where it's going to go. If I wanted to change that, I would click on the Choose button here, and you get a little pop-up, and I can choose the desktop, and then I would choose the folder that I wanted, which if I scroll down, would be Exports. So I'm going to select that folder, and it tells you here where it's going to go. That's fairly straightforward. Now, as you come down, you can rename your file. So with this one, I'm going to rename it, and you just check the little box, and you can change it here. So it's a, and you can change, you get a little drop down menu here. I'm going to keep the original file number. In fact, I'll go with file name. File name and sequence, just so that we've got that set correctly. You could just leave it unchecked, and that automatically would have it as your file name. Coming down the list, video. Well, we're not exporting video. File settings. Let's drop that one down. Now, you want to make sure for printing, generally speaking, most print labs will take a JPEG image. If it's not set to JPEG here, click on the grey box and you get all the options. Check JPEG. And the color space for, again, most print labs is sRGB. If it doesn't say that here, click on the little grey box and make sure that you select that one. Now the quality, you want to print with the best quality, so make sure that this is set to the highest at 100. That's for 100%. If you have it in the middle somewhere, you can see the numbers drop, so push that all the way up to the right. And make sure that this little checkbox is not selected, because you do not want to limit the file size. You want the full file size, so that's one to make sure. Coming underneath that, you've got image sizing, and this is where we're going to resize our picture. So you check the little box for resize, and width and height, you make sure that that's selected. Now we know that the width, the long side of our picture, is the width. We know that that is 12, and we know that the height is 8. And the other thing to make sure is that you have inches selected here, because you don't want it in pixels and you don't want it in centimeters. So we're going to have inches. And again, most print labs will print using a 300 dots per inch. So make sure that the resolution is changed here to 300. And then click on Export. And at the top here it tells you exporting file. Now if I open up that folder on my desktop and I come across, there's the resized Eye of the Peacock feather image in my folder, my exports folder. So I'm going to go through that again using the other picture, which is the white flower on here. I'm going to select that one. And again, it looks like it's the same dimensions, it looks like it's the same aspect ratio, but I won't know until I go into the crop tool and I come over to the original, click that, and come down to 4:6 because that's the same dimensions again as the 12:8. So click on that, and again the box did not move. So that means that that is a 12 along the long side and an 8 along the short side. We will export it as that, so we will right click, come down to export, over to the sub menu and up to the top, which is export again. Click on that and it comes up. Now all the settings should be remembered from the last time that we did this, so we shouldn't need to touch a single thing. It's exporting to the hard drive. It's going to export to the exports folder that I've already selected. Coming down, I'm not needing to rename the file. If I wanted to, I could check it on here. Coming down underneath that, we have the JPEG file format, which is correct. We have the sRGB file format, color space. The quality is still set to 100. The limit file size is not checked. And underneath we have the resize to fit. Again, making sure that the width, which is the longest side, is the longer part is the width, so we've got that checked to 12. The height is 8 and the resolution is 300. And again, clicking on export tells you up here it's done it. And if we bring back the folder, we now see that the white flower is in there. And that's it. That's all that there is to resizing in Lightroom. I'm going to run through again, very quickly this time though, I'm going to do the same picture, but this time we're going to print it to a 4x6 image, so it's going to be a lot shorter. So come over to the crop tool. It's already telling us, because I selected it the last time, that it was a 4x6, so we don't need to touch that. So that's fine. We're going to right click, down to export, up to export, keep all this the same. However, I am going to rename it because I want to know which one is going to be the 4x6. So I'm going to change this here, and I will put in the custom text here. I will call it 4x6 and white flower. Okay, so I've renamed that. Coming down the list, file settings, keeping it the same, JPEG, sRGB color space, quality to 100. The file size, I'm not wanting to restrict that, so that's unchecked. The image sizing, now again, the horizontal side is the width, so that will be the long part of my picture, which is 6. Because we're going to export it as a 4x6 image. So that's a 6. And the height, which is the shorter side, is the 4. Making sure it is checked for inches, resolution's at 300, and we'll export that. And if I bring over the folder again, there we go, the renamed file 4x6 flower. And that's it. Anyway, I hope that's helped you out with resizing in Lightroom.